Hello everyone, and welcome to this webcast on using the Coffective Prenatal platform. My name is Kathy Carruthers, the author of this platform, and I'm really excited to share more about this wonderful new resource with you. This Coffective Prenatal platform is designed for educators who teach prenatal mothers and their family members about how to get a good start in the hospital. It can be used by WIC programs, prenatal providers, hospitals, and community organizations who all provide education to new families. It can be used for prenatal classes, for mothers group meetings, and even for one-on-one counseling. There's really no limit to what the opportunities could be. We're really excited about this wonderful new tool because it really does enable you to reinforce the education you're already providing to new mothers and their families, but it does so in a way that aligns with the entire array of Coffective resources and materials. Now, one of the things I personally love about these resources is that they're coordinated in terms of content and colors and overall design. So they're really part of a beautiful branded approach. And from a marketing perspective, that coordinated approach is what really adds power to your education because it really simplifies the important content and it reinforces it so moms are more likely to retain it. I'd like to help you take a quick review of some of these materials so you can see how this prenatal platform will be able to reinforce coordination and make it easier for both you as the instructor and for your learners. So first of all of the content in the materials are evidence-based. It is aligned with the required baby-friendly content so that messaging about preparing moms for their hospital experience will be consistent. And this was really designed to make everyone's life much easier. The content's also organized into topical sections with some really lovely, engaging titles that draw people in and help them feel some emotion when they think about those practices. For example, Fall in Love and Keep Baby Close, Learn Your Baby. These are all lovely titles that moms are going to remember. And then we assign colors to those main topical sections throughout all of the materials, including the training materials, so you'll always know where to find the key information. Now, all of the materials, including the training materials, are full of large photos, which really draw in the reader and engage them in a meaningful way. You know, we like to say that if a picture is worth 1,000 words, then we're offering 1,000,000. And you'll see that when you begin looking at these amazing photos. These are photos taken of real moms and real dads, real babies, and real staff. And the photos also represent diverse ethnicities to really reflect the populations that we serve. Now, the resources and the training tools all build on one another to reinforce key practices. For example, the We're Prepared checklist really introduces the mother to evidence-based practices. So this serves as her to-do list so she can keep track of everything she's learning and also to help her communicate with her health providers what she wants in her hospital experience. The motivation document gives a quick snapshot of some of the benefits of the key practices like skin to skin and the magical first hour, getting a good latch with breastfeeding, and following baby's feeding cues. To go a little deeper, though, and to learn more, then the Coffective mobile app provides more details about each of these practices, and it does so using a format that new moms really love most, and providing lots of engaging photos so that learning will be fun. Then the Coffective counseling sheets enable the staff to have a patient-centered conversation about what is most important to the mother and her family. The prenatal platform then allows you to use this very same carefully branded approach to provide group education to moms. So in that way, you're able to reinforce everything that hopefully they're already learning through the other materials and resources. So let's talk a little bit now about the platform, and then we'll take a quick tour through the materials. The Coffective Prenatal Platform is really an innovative collection of presentation slides that are based on evidence-based adult learning principles. That's designed to help you host effective group education experiences for the mothers and the families that you serve. Now, you'll see that it aligns with all of the other Coffective materials. As I mentioned, it's the same major sections of content, the same beautiful images, some of the same colors, etc. So first of all, I'd like to show you the platform itself, and then I'm going to review some of the additional materials that we've created to help you use this wonderful resource more effectively. What is a platform? Let's start there. Well, a platform is actually a collection of slides. It's not a single PowerPoint slideshow. Now, many of you might be familiar with some other approaches that use this platform idea in presentation design. The Coffective offline platform uses the same approach. And if you work for the WIC program, the USDA WIC peer counseling training resources use this approach. So does the HHS Office on Women's Health resources for working moms. This just names a few. There are actually many, many resources that are now being structured in this very flexible visual design approach. And really, they're structured like a website, if you think about it. So even though it's all done in PowerPoint, think for a minute about how a website functions, and it will be much easier for you. A website organizes all of the content into topics that you can access through drop-down menus. Once you get to the page that you want, you simply scroll down the page, and when you're done, you can either click to go somewhere else, or you can hit a back button to go back or totally X out of the site altogether. The same is true with a presentation platform. Rather than one long linear presentation, a platform simply organizes your content into topics just the way your website menu bars do. Once you get to a section that you want to show, you just click on the short presentation shows you want to show. This enables you to be very fluid and flexible when you're presenting, and it also helps you to adapt your content to whatever learning situation you find yourself. When you open the folder with the shows for the first time, you're going to see right away that there's a very long list of PowerPoint shows. Don't be dismayed by that. In fact, you're just going to ignore all of those shows, because the only show you will ever open is the very first one at the top, the one that's titled Main Show. Once you open that, you'll need to put it in slideshow mode, and that's what activates all of the hyperlinks so that you can click around easily just like you do on a website. Because you see, each one of those PowerPoint shows in that big long list are all connected together through hyperlinks. Let's take a quick tour. Now, first of all, you're going to see we have individual dashboards of content. The buttons at the bottom link to these dashboards. And when your platform is in slideshow mode, these links are going to work. Each dashboard is then broken down into several different topics. These dashboards perfectly align with the exact same topics that are used in all of the other Coffective resources. You're going to see the same titles, the same colors, the same content, and a lot of the same images. In fact, you're going to see on each dashboard, we've even included some very small thumbnail pictures of some of the Coffective resources that go with each dashboard. This was just done to make it easier for you to find what you need. Now, when you click, for example, on the checklist, it's going to open a highlighted version of that part of the checklist that relates to that section. So that way you can really hone in on that particular content. The counseling sheet thumbnail opens an image of the counseling sheet in case you wanted to use that sheet to start a conversation with the group. For example, you might show that counseling sheet and say, everyone take a look at these pictures, and as you look at these pictures, is there one that especially appeals to you? Let's talk about that one. That's one way to use that in a more facilitated approach. And then the mobile app thumbnail opens images of that section of the app that applies to that particular section. To open any of these resources, it's very simple. You do it just like you do on a website. You click on the thumbnail and it's going to open the appropriate resource. Now, you'll also see that on each dashboard, the content is grouped together into sections. On the Build Your Team dashboard, for example, content is grouped into 3 sections: the introduction, family, and community. The buttons that are listed below those titles are actually linked to individual slide shows, and they're titled according to the content in that particular show. In this case, we have shows that deal with the importance of getting prepared for the hospital, why moms will want to select a champion to support her during the hospital stay and during pregnancy. And then there are slides that deal with the role of the baby's father and grandparents. There are slides you can also use to discuss how to talk to the mom's physician, information about the WIC program, and slides that address other community resources like Healthy Start and home visiting programs. Here's how this works. Let's say someone asks a question about the father of the baby and what he can do to help. You're going to know that slides about the dad are going to be found right under the family section and the dad show. You're simply going to click on the dad button. This is going to open a short PowerPoint show that just focuses on dads. And then you're going to scroll through those slides and you'll see lots of examples of ways that dads can bond with the baby and be a really important part of that process. And I want you to note there aren't any photos of dads changing diapers. We're really big believers in the importance of dads in meaningful engagement with their partner and the newborn. Once you open any slideshow on this platform, there are a few things that I want to point out about the way these shows are structured. First of all, each slideshow is pretty short. Most of them are just around 3 to 5 slides in length or so, and none of them have any more than 10 slides. Now look at the bottom of this show. You'll see some little buttons all across the bottom. These are the individual slides that are found in this particular show. So you can see at a glance exactly which slides you're going to have in that particular show. You can either scroll through each slide in this show by just rolling your mouse down like you normally would, or clicking the down arrow button on your computer. Or you can move right to the particular slide you want by clicking on the buttons at the bottom. You'll notice that as you scroll to each slide, the relevant button at the bottom is highlighted. It's just got a little bit of a glow to that button. Now we did that. That's called a visual cue, and we put those on the buttons so you will always know where you are in that show. It's pretty subtle, so your audience will probably never even notice it. But you will know to look for that, and it will help you relax, always knowing where you are in the show. Now let's say you want to end that show. Well, there's 2 ways you can end the show and go back to the dashboard where you were. If you're scrolling through the slides in order, then when you get to the very last one and scroll again, it will automatically end the show and take you back to the dashboard. Another way to end it is to simply click on the back button in the bottom right-hand corner. This is found on every single slideshow and dashboard in the entire platform, so this will always take you back to where you were before. And in this case, it's going to take you right back to the dashboard where you were before you opened that show. And now you can go to another show if you want. Or if you want, you can click on a whole other dashboard button and go to a whole different set of content. You know what? This is flexibility on steroids, really, because you are in total control of what you want to present, how much you want to present, and in what order. And you can't get any better than that. Now let's take a look at all of the content that is provided in this prenatal platform. There's a lot of really great material here, and I'm really excited to get to show you what we have. The Get Ready section focuses on the prenatal period and what the mother can do during her pregnancy to prepare for her hospital experience. This dashboard, as you can see, is divided into 3 sections: pregnancy, labor and birth, and other topics. There is content on how baby grows during the pregnancy and the importance of waiting until labor starts on its own if that's possible. There's content related to comfort measures during the pregnancy and during the labor as well, so that mom can hopefully be more relaxed and comfortable. The other topics section has slides that help you talk about how the mother should care for her breast during pregnancy and other things she can do to have a healthy pregnancy. Fall in Love is probably my favorite section, and it tends to be the favorite of a lot of people, both educators and moms. It begins with content that's really kind of focused on what the baby wants, why babies want and need to be close to the mothers after the birth. It even helps you understand a little better what the baby is experiencing in utero, so moms can better understand why the baby needs to be close to the mother after the birth too. The magical first hour section tells a little bit more about what will happen in that first hour after birth, with a to-do list of things she can do in that first hour. Now, this to-do list, I want to point out, has the very same photo images that are on the counseling sheet, so it's a great way to reinforce that information. You'll see we follow this theme of to-do in every dashboard. This section of Fall in Love also has slides on the baby's journey to the breast and how he can find the breast all on his own when he's put in the right environment. Slides on talking with family will help you discuss with moms how to talk with their family members about their wishes after the birth. And then there's a lot of great content on skin to skin and why that is so important in welcoming the baby gently to the world, what to expect right after the birth, and how to do skin to skin after a C-section. It also has slides on how dads can enjoy skin to skin too. The first breastfeed is a lovely short video from the New Zealand Breastfeeding Authority. Just simply click on that link and it's going to open a very short video that actually depicts a newborn going to the breast on his own. I really love that because that helps you to show parents what to expect and what it will look like with a real baby. Keep baby close. That dashboard discusses the importance of continuing to do skin to skin throughout the hospital stay and even beyond once the mother and father are home from the hospital. It also addresses rooming in. Because this content is mom-focused, we first talk about what her baby is going to want so that mothers will better understand why the baby wants to be close and how rooming in is going to benefit the baby. We also discuss mom's to-do list, and again, just like the other dashboards, this aligns with the counseling sheet. It discusses how to manage rooming in, as well as content on how to deal with the visitors who want to camp out in mom's room all day and night while she's in the hospital. Learn Your Baby dashboard addresses things that parents will want to learn about their baby, including feeding cues and a to-do list to better understand how often they need to feed the baby. And you can see a couple of little thumbnail pictures on this dashboard. Those are actually a quick visual cue to let you know that those slides are going to show what poopy diapers will look like for a breastfed infant and what colostrum will look like. So you can click on that little image and it will take you to those slides. There are also slides dealing with what baby wants, basic infant behaviors in the early postpartum period, some of the reasons why babies cry, how to manage that second night when babies tend to be a lot fussier, and ways to calm the baby without using formula or pacifiers. The Nourish section provides a lot of information on breastfeeding, and there's a lot of great content here. Why it matters, how to position and latch the baby appropriately, laid-back breastfeeding techniques, and a lot of other breastfeeding positions that moms might want to learn. You'll see that we put the same little photo thumbnails here that were on the previous dashboard, and that's because sometimes the question of colostrum and poopy diapers might come up when you're discussing breastfeeding too, so you can access that content in either dashboard. The Protect Breastfeeding dashboard is next, and that one helps moms learn more about how to make sure that they'll make plenty of milk. It has a little teaching on how the breast makes milk and the hormones that are involved in making milk. There's also content on why formula should be avoided in the first month and some ways that mom will know she's making enough. There's also content on avoiding artificial nipples and pacifiers, why they are not advisable, and things to consider in calming a baby without resorting to using those products. You'll also see on this dashboard some little thumbnail photos under the first column. These link to short shows that give some visuals that could be used when you're teaching moms about their milk production. For example, it shows what colostrum looks like versus mature milk. We have also an analogy of colostrum, and we liken it in a way to a can of frozen orange juice. We talk about how colostrum is small in volume and it's concentrated, similar to a can of frozen orange juice. And then there are pictures of objects that relate to the size of the baby's stomach. So you can talk with moms about the small capacity of the baby's stomach and their bladder and how that matches perfectly the amount of breast milk that she's going to make. The last dashboard is called Coffective Resources, and this really just groups together all of the Coffective resources in one place. That way you don't have to remember which dashboard some of these resources are found. You can just go quickly to this dashboard and see all of the resources displayed together. Each one of these little thumbnail pictures link directly to the document or a photo of the document, so you can show it in a large way on the screen if you want to do that. Now I'd like to just take a little bit of a closer look at a few of the individual slides themselves to show you a few things that we did to make them kind of fun. Let's go first to the Nourish section, and I'm going to click on the show labeled Latch. The first thing you're going to notice is that these slides are very visual. There are no boring text bullets. And that's because research shows that people don't learn with text bullets. They learn and they remember that information better when we present it through visuals. Visuals just have a powerful way of just sticking in your brain. But for that to happen, the visuals have to be meaningful and engaging. And they're more powerful when they're full screen, not little tiny photos stuck in the corner. You're going to see that the visuals we use are not cheesy stock photos. These are real photos of moms and babies. Each one of these is designed to teach the content you're trying to get across, so the moms will know exactly what you're trying to teach them. These beautiful full-screen visuals show exactly, for example, what latch is supposed to look like. So the mother's going to know what to look for when she's latching her own baby. When you're teaching latch, you might want to show these photos so moms can see what you're talking about, and then maybe use a baby doll and a breast model to also demonstrate those techniques, so that just sort of reinforces what you're teaching. But you have to remember, sometimes moms have a hard time seeing you from the angle where they're sitting. And they may be sitting far enough back that they really aren't able to see what you're talking about. So having those photos on the screen will really help the mom to see exactly what you're talking about. Our mantra is show them, don't just tell them. So this is how we want to maybe encourage you to do that. Sometimes a visual is not a photo. It might actually be a graphic that helps demonstrate the concept. And sometimes those graphics have a little animation to it. So let's look at the It Matters show. Now you're going to see across the bottom of all these slides that there are two slide buttons in this show that have a purple bar at the bottom. We use purple as a visual cue. That purple color tells you that this slide has something very special to it. Let's take a look at these. When you click on the slide button that says Living Cells, it opens with a photo on the left-hand side of the slide. This allows you to talk about the fact that formula is a manufactured substance. But we want to compare that now to what's in breast milk. Since there's a purple bar, we know that there's an animation here, and it's easy to make that animation work. You're simply going to scroll the mouse down again, or click the down arrow button on your computer. This is going to bring up the animation, and in this case, it opens the second photo, and that shows what a drop of breast milk looks like under the microscope. Now you can compare the two and talk about why breast milk is so special. Why would you want to show them one at a time? Because here's the truth. If you talk about one concept at a time, people are more likely to remember the information. So if you talk first about formula, what it is, how many ingredients are in it, the fact it's a manufactured substance, and that's why you don't see anything under the microscope because it's not living, and then you show them the living substance, breast milk, it's much more powerful and meaningful and memorable in that mom's memory. Now here's another great animation on the next slide. You see the button marked white cells at the bottom, and you see it too has that purple bar under it. And of course that tells us there's an animation here on this slide too. When you open the slide, it just shows a still picture of some interesting looking graphics. But guess what happens when you scroll your mouse down or click the down arrow button on your computer? You activate the animation. And now we see Pac-Man is eating up the little dots. And I think this is just a great visual to help explain to moms that they have millions of these little Big Macs or macrophages in their milk. And these Big Macs go throughout the baby's body looking for bacteria that they can destroy. That's a very powerful and memorable image, and I promise you moms will not forget that when they think about how special their milk is. So the slides with the purple animation bar just tell you you can do something rather fun with that slide. Now, the flexible format in this platform means that you can use these slides in many different ways, depending on how much time you have and who your audience is going to be. For example, you could use them as part of a prenatal WIC breastfeeding class. You could perhaps present 15 minutes of content as part of a hospital childbirth class in your community, or maybe as part of a WIC group nutrition education session. Maybe a 5-minute portion is all you want, and you're going to use that as part of a counseling encounter with a mom. Maybe in a prenatal provider office, in a Healthy Start office, at a home visit with a mom, or as part of a formal training session. That's really the beauty in this flexible approach. You have lots of options based on your unique needs. We realize that because the slides are visual, you might be feeling a little frantic, wondering, what am I supposed to say with those slides? And fortunately, we have prepared some talking points with very simple language that will help you do just that. The talking points or speaker notes are presented for every single slide, and they're formatted in a way that'll be really easy for you to find what you need. You're going to want to keep those handy when you're presenting, just to remind you of what the slides are depicting and the key information that you might want to share. You can either print out those notes and have them in front of you or in a little binder, or if you want to download this to your iPad, you could actually put your iPad there in front of you and scroll through the iPad. I like using that option sometimes because I can make it bigger so that it's easier for me to read. I can very subtly scroll through those slides and nobody really knows what I'm doing. So it's a really great way to do that. Now, we've done these notes in a very special way by time segment. We tried to help make things a little easier for you because we know that your time is limited. So we've given you some options. For example, what you might want to present if you're only going to have 5 minutes as part of another educational opportunity. So in that case, you can use the speaker notes for a 5-minute segment. This is our recommendation of maybe what you might want to present if all you get is 5 minutes. Certainly, you can pick whatever content you want, but these are some recommendations to kind of get you started. We've done the same thing for other time segments, for a 10-minute segment, a 15-minute segment, 30 minutes, and even 60 minutes. And then finally, at the end, there's a section of content that could be considered bonus material. This is just extra content that you can use to expand your class if you have a little bit more time. The speaker notes are very simple. There's an opening section that outlines the purpose for the content segment and then the key topics. We outlined in blue the baby-friendly required content that is included in that segment in case you wanted to be sure and note that and be sure and highlight that with your moms. Throughout the notes, we've also included trainer tips, possible discussion questions you might want to ask to make that content a little bit more engaging for the families that are attending your educational event. We've included some activities you might want to consider, maybe demonstrations that you could conduct to help reinforce that information, and a few other ways to enhance your training so that it's even more interactive and engaging. Because these speaker notes are available in a Word format, it's easy for you to copy and paste any content into your time segment document. For example, let's say you really don't want to cover the information on engaging a champion in your 10-minute segment, but you do want to at least mention the benefits of skin-to-skin. Well, all you have to do is simply copy the skin-to-skin section from another time segment, paste that into your notes for your 10-minute segment, and you're good to go. In addition to the speaker notes, we have prepared a very detailed training facilitator guide. This guide is very important and it will walk you through the technical aspects of using this prenatal platform. It's really important that you read this over before you begin using the platform. There's a lot of great content here. For example, there are a couple of minor but very important changes you're going to need to make on the computer you'll be presenting from so that things will work properly. Your guide will actually walk you through the steps to make those very minor changes to your computer settings. Your guide also will teach you how to download it from the Coffective website so you know exactly where to find it, how to access the information, and what it's going to look like when you open up that folder so you'll know how to do that properly. Your guide will also have some suggestions for ways to make sure that things work better, some guidance on how to improve your presentation, and even some group facilitation techniques so that your education experience with new families will be more engaging and lively. I want to remind you that before you do a presentation for the first time, always take the time to just click around this platform. It really is easy to use, but it does take a little practice, so you want to get practice with that. You don't want to be learning how to click around for the very first time in front of an audience. Plan to take around 30 minutes to an hour before you use it for the first time just to click around and view all the slides and get comfortable with all the content that is there. I promise you that's going to be one of the best things you'll do to help you feel confident and ready once you begin to use your platform. We are very excited to be able to offer this incredible prenatal platform resource to you, and we hope that you'll enjoy using it. We hope that you also let us know how it's working for you and any suggestions you might have that will enable us to make this work even better for the educators to come. The only warning I'm going to give you is this: beware, because this style of visual learning and flexible teaching can be very addictive. Have some fun with it and enjoy watching your classes come alive. Thanks so much.